Hello, Stampin' Buddies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. Late Night Lori is on just before midnight, Thursday, February 6th, and we're going to use a product that is on the last chance list that was a carryover item from Close to My Heart. But before that, I'm just going to give a little plug for Celebration, which is the biggest sale of the Stampin' Up! Year. You've heard me say it before, but with every $60 incremental purchase, you get free stuff. And if you're one of my customers, you should have already gotten your calendar or your pamphlet on this. But on February 4th, Stampin' Up! Released some new items, and these are some pretty cool items. I placed an order so that I could get this. This is a current relatively new item, and like these dies, this alphabet a la mode dies, I love these. They're a little bit taller but narrow, and they're very slender. So for those of you who do memory keeping or scrapbooking, those are awesome for that. These trusty tool dies, you could do all kinds of stuff. A couple of the demonstrator development managers, I think, is who presented it, but they just cut out like this paintbrush and put the bristles on and use some color techniques to just make like an array of color as if it was coming from the paintbrushes they put on the card. So that was really cool. This ribbon is awesome. These butterflies, you've seen me use these, but these are super flat, so they mail really easily. These were really cute. I have these ready to go. I bought the kit, so this is a newer item as well. And the frames are like, must be 8 by 8. So you get all the frames and all the pieces for that. So this is some pretty cool stuff. So if you have questions, let me know. All right. So on to the show. I didn't practice my card again, so you'll have to bear with me if it doesn't quite turn out. Then, I'll play with it more and post pictures of my retry. But these are the Floral Sprig. It's an embossing folder and stencils. So you can buy just the embossing folder. It's $4.80, which is really inexpensive. And hopefully you can see that that's just foliage and a few small flowers. And you can tell I'm going to be doing that in Moody Mauve. So Moody Mauve is one of those colors that will be going away at the end of this current annual catalog period. So I think May 6th is the date that will go away. But anyway, back to the show. Squirrel. And then we have 3 stencils. So you have a stencil for the leaves, you have a stencil for the branches, and then you have a stencil for the small flowers. So we're going to see what I can get done with this. I love these decorative masks. They call them stencils. Stampin' Up! Calls them decorative masks. But I love doing the masking things. So I think what I'm going to do is do my stencil brushwork, mask work first. And then I brought in some extra paper in case I mess up. Extra paper in case I mess up, and one for the inside. So let's just put this here with a little bit of washi tape. And we'll kind of line it up here a little bit. With the stencil, with the rather Stampin' Up! Masks, there is always a notch in the top of the mask so that you can line it up. This one doesn't have that. So we're just going to kind of line it up on this corner. I think that'll get it pretty close to where I want it on my layer. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on here. And we are going to use Granny Apple Green for these leaves. And I have a card base for Moody Mauve. So Granny Apple Green is this brush. And let's just get, I was going to get a scrap piece of paper, but I think I could just also do it on my glass mat, but since I'm using several colors, I don't want to mess it up. Let's get a little bit more on here. So it's got a little bit more color. And let's just start stenciling here. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of varying how dark it is in certain places. So I can make some of the leaves darker just by adding extra ink, and some of them are going to be lighter. All right, so I kind of like that. Let's add a little bit of Old Olive with a different brush, just to do some little shading. It might not really show up a whole lot. We'll see. Yeah, the Old Olive's not showing up a whole lot, but at least not to the naked eye. But I think it does make a little bit of a difference. Okay, so we'll close out those. The more I have open, the more likely I am to make a mess of myself with ink. So these will just rinse out underwater really easily. So now let's line this up. And again, I'm lining up this corner here. And those branches are pretty close to where I need them to be. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball if I need to shift it all. That looks really good. And because those are lined up with those leaves, I'm going to see about peeling off another piece of washi tape so I can do this other corner. Less chance of messing it up. So we are going to use Pecan Pie. I suppose I could do that way so you can see I've got the Pecan Pie. And the nice thing about this is that there's just holes now where the branches are going to go. So you can't mess up the leaves because they're covered. So I tried to go a little lighter at the top and a little darker down here at the bottom. And my thought process on that is that the lower branches are probably older, so they would be darker. All right, so we're done with that. So we'll lift that one up, and I can use this washi tape for the last stencil, which is the little flowers. And I picked Moody Mauve just because I have an affinity for cherry blossoms, and it kind of reminds me of cherry blossoms a little bit. Now, I'm not sure about the cherry blossom or the cherry trees, what the leaves look like, so I might be like totally wrong, but it is what it is. So here comes our Moody Mauve. Ooh, that's really dark. Not exactly what I intended. So I'm not going to push very hard with my brush. So if you have ink on there and you press harder, you'll get more intense color. If you go super light, it's not so intense. All right. Ooh, look at that. That's really pretty. I like it. I like it. So let's take the washi tape up, and we're going to get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine up here, because we're going to put this in the embossing folder. Now this is a really thin one, so I'm hoping it will go through without any kind of extra shims. I've not ever had a close to my heart one. So what I'm doing here is I'm lining everything up. And that looks pretty good. I'm trying to shift it so that the flowers are actually pretty close to where they need to be. That's good. All right, so I'm just gonna hold that in place while I pull up the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, my big boss. And let's get a couple of plates. So I have my base plate, I've got my shim plate. So let's see here. We've got, well, I might not need that shim plate. So if I follow these instructions on here, if you can see that, the platform gives you the recipes basically to get your sandwich. So with the standard embossing folder, I need plate 1, which is this base, and then the 2 cutting plates, which are plates 3. So let me get 2 of those. And this would go in between them. So we'll see how this works. And when I put my plates in, I usually have the top, or the bottom one rather, the one that's right on the platform, I usually have that pulled back a little bit so that this plate I put up further. And then when it starts to grab through the machine, it pulls it in better without having to fight so much to have 3 full layers. So I was just showing my gals who got a brand new machine, I was just showing her today how that works. So what I'm saying is when I have these in the machine, you kind of have like a C. So I've got the platform, my first cutting plate, then I have my embossing folder in between the 2 cutting plates, and then I have another cutting plate on top. So that's my sandwich. And then when it goes through the machine and the rollers push it in, it doesn't have all the bulk of 3, and then I don't have to crank as hard. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's fold this girl up and let's see how it looks. Look at that. Can you see that texture on there? That is really pretty. That is really pretty. So I think what I want to do is find my perennial postage dies. That might cut off some of the stem. I may cut this out with my perennial postage dies just because I think that might, I think that might be a good border to put on there rather than just the stark edges. And then this is from this ephemera pack, saying something. I've been trying to use some of these. I don't usually use pre-stamped things like that, but these are so fun and it's so quick and easy. And I'm gonna put this up on dimensionals. I think I kind of like that. And then I had some gold bows from the Enduring Beauty, I think, suite of products. So if that went up on dimensionals, and I could put a gold bow down here, that's really kind of cute. I think I like it up a little higher. I don't like the idea of covering up those flowers because they're so cute. So I'm thinking something like this though. I mean, if you put the bow up by the sentiment, to to me, it just doesn't make sense. Why would I have a bow up there? But here, if I was going to turn that into a bouquet, oh, I could cut these words apart too. We could do that. And I don't think I put this with my, I don't think I burnished my edge because the card was kind of popping up there. So if that's there like that, we could do good. Vibes. And if I don't like it, I have another one of these. I can put it back on a long banner. Send your way. So I think I might like it better as a banner. What do you think? Banner or broken? So that gives it kind of a whimsical look. And if I used some dies, if let's say I use the perennial postage dies, that'll take some of the border away, and I'd have to move those words over a little bit. So that might not work, but we all could also do like a thinking of you. That color's a little different. I liked that one because it went with the granite apple green. So let me pull out another one of these. So words on the side or words in the banner. Let me know what you think. All right. That's all I have for you folks. So until next time, happy stamping. Thanks for watching.